Why isn't anybody willing to talk to me about the Khumbu Icefall? It's April 20th, and here's your Everest Live daily dispatch from me and a somewhat freaked out Spot. She's a little freaked out because it's raining, but also she's seen the duffel bags come out, and she hates it when I start to pack. But today's topic that we're going to talk about is what's happening in the Khumbu Icefall. A lot of the social media, a lot of the images that you're seeing, if you're following people in the mountain, many of the companies did their pujas today, did their blessings to the goddess Sama. Sama is one of five sisters, five sacred mountains, and these are goddesses that sort of inhabit these mountains, and they ensure safe passage for climbers. When you see sort of climbers, when you see Sherpas doing prayers at the Pangwashe Monastery, or you see those famous base camp pujas before you go up, those are all for Sama, the goddess of Everest. These goddesses also date back to a pre-Buddhist tradition called Bon, which is an animistic religion that worships sort of nature spirits and land spirits. But what I am going to talk about, which is not totally unrelated, is why haven't the clients, why haven't groups started their first rotations? Why haven't they been able to set up Camp 1 and Camp 2? The reason for that, usually that starts right after the puja. The reason for that is the Khumbu Icefall and the Icefall doctors have met a huge obstacle in an area called the Rock Fall, which is sort of this crease along the northern edge of the Khumbu Icefall, underneath the Lo La Pass over to Tibet. And it's an area that's quite dangerous. And right now, apparently, there's a very unstable serac, an overhanging sort of ice feature that could fall off at any second. That's like the size of an apartment building. And so putting the route underneath this is not only putting the lives of the icefall doctors in danger, but it's creating a feature that could come down during the season, potentially killing dozens or even hundreds of people. So fixing the ropes there, from what I understand, is not an option. All right, Spot, we'll let you down. Going around it is also not an option, or not a good option, because it's a heavily crevassed area, and an alternative route will be longer, but it's also going to require a ton of ladder crossings. And these ladder crossings, the more of them that you have, the harder it is to get through the icefall, but also the more it slows down that kind of the super highway, basically, for all goods that go up into the higher camps on Everest. So the analysis that I understand is that this serac is so unstable that it's potentially going to fall over any day now. And that's why they're waiting, is hoping that it'll naturally fall and it'll let the route be opened with no stress to anybody. That's what I'm hoping for. But what's interesting is, for me as a journalist, all this information I'm sharing with you about the size of the serac, all of that stuff, is all things that I've pulled from sources sort of informally and off the record. Nobody wants to talk about this. And that is what I find interesting. I think some of this is a hangover from this poisoning scandal and the heli rescue scandals. It's a hangover in the sense that there's a lot of fear that any kind of even like somewhat negative coverage on Everest is going to catch headlines and it's going to be blown out of proportion. I understand that. It's late. It's not ideal, but also it's Mount Everest. It's Himalayan mountaineering. This is for people who go to the mountain year after year. It's all part of the game. Every year there's something that you have to solve for. And right now, it's a tricky passage through the Khumbu Icefall. I have total confidence that they'll figure something out. Already, a lot of expeditions have been sending climbers off to peaks like Lobuche, Island Peak, or even just down to Namche or Lukla or Kathmandu to rest, waiting for things to open up. Uh, Basically, if you go acclimatize on a smaller peak, you skip having to do the first rotation on the mountain. None of this stuff is the end of the world. But what I find interesting is sort of the culture of media paranoia that's starting to happen. But honestly, after what we went through with the whole Everest Guide scandal, which was pretty much fake news, uh, their paranoia is also understandable. So that's what's happening on the mountain. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.